Welcome to the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on FS1. Here's what this podcast is all about. It's an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the day's show, and there is a lot to get into in today's podcast. Russell Westbrook makes history as he got his 41st triple-double last night, tying the Big O. So we debate if this will get him that MVP trophy. We invite a man that has the right to call people great, Mr. Chris Carter, to break down Tony Romo's career and if he was a great quarterback. Plus, we discuss what Colin Kaepernick's future is in the NFL. Finally, the stage is set tonight for a big matchup in Beantown as the King and the Cavs take on Celtics in a game that might determine the 1 seed in the East. Skip and Shannon, how are you guys?
Skip, you got to come meet me a little bit. Skip, my suit's a little tight today.
Today?
Whoa, Joy!
Touche.
The tailor said, Mr. Sharpe, what fit are you going for the day? You know what I told him, Skip?
Skin?
No, I want skin on a grape. Now, I got one coming in
Is
a
that
couple
why you're wearing the purple?
I got like three coming in a couple of weeks that's tighter than pantyhoses. 2 sizes too small.
Back to reality. Allow me to take one moment, please, to congratulate my San Antonio Spurs on again winning 60 games. This time without Tim Duncan. We know nobody cares, but I'm going to say it because this is my show, right?
Exactly.
But guess what, Skip? Not going to win the title. So what does that say?
Well,
I don't even care.
Oh, you care? Oh,
you
you
don't watch it
care.
anyway. I'm just going to say it. And now
What?
we will never talk about the Spurs again as long as we are on the show, right?
no.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Once the Warriors put them out of the playoff,
Yeah,
you'll
we'll
be up
see.
here
Well,
sulking.
at least they would get to the finals, right?
No. Warriors.
That's what I'm saying. Get to the finals of the
Western Conference?
Yeah.
That ain't nothing.
Huh?
That's nothing to be proud of.
Memphis is tough, man.
We'll talk some NBA a little later in the show, but let's get it started with the latest on Tony Romo. The Cowboys officially released Romo after 14 years in Dallas yesterday. Romo formally announced on Twitter that he's joining CBS with the caption, "I guess it's time to start dressing up," #CBS. Romo will replace Phil Simms on the lead announce team with Jim Nantz. However, an anonymous NFL GM told Bleacher Report there's a 100% chance Romo comes back to the NFL next season. Yesterday, Romo said his focus is on broadcasting, but he didn't completely shut the door to a return to football. Let's take a listen.
I wish I could tell you unequivocally 100% for the rest of my life I'll never play any sports at all, but I don't envision coming out. But I've also seen enough things from I'm not going to Alabama to I'm done playing football to things that happen in life. And do I envision coming back playing football? Absolutely not. I'm committed to CBS. I'm going to be there for good. Do I think I'm going to get some calls? I'm sure I will. There's not enough quarterbacks as is to win 12 games in the NFL anyway. And so for me, the reality is that's going to happen. Now, right now, I'm telling you that I don't think it's going to be that hard of a decision. I'm going to get in the booth. I'm going to like it. It's going to be a challenge, and I'm excited. And I just don't envision that really being something that I'm going to have to think long and hard about. But it's one of those things you do. You never say never. I just tell you it's about 99%. And if there's some crazy reason Sean decided to fire me in week 12, well, I guess I'd have to think about playing in a small golf tournament or maybe in a flag football game or something.
Skip.
Interesting.
It is interesting. What % chance do you give Romo of coming back and playing next season?
Shannon Sharpe, I will admit I am conflicted about this question because when I first heard or read the anonymous GM quote, 100% that he's coming back next year, I thought that is absurd. But then I reminded myself, just one day ago I sat in this chair and I said I was shocked that Tony Romo chose to walk away with so much unfinished business. He chose to walk away from potentially 3 Super Bowl opportunities, one for sure in Houston, maybe one in Denver. Who knows? Maybe even one with the Dallas Cowboys. He chose to walk away. So I guess I wouldn't be shocked if he had second thoughts and chose to come back. And yet he did do the press conference yesterday with CBS. So that's a big commitment. You're all in all of a sudden, right? And I remind you that he's not starting from the bottom in the way so many ex-players are forced to start as the third string team, right?
Yes.
Right? Like even Troy Aikman had to work his way up the Fox ladder from quote unquote the bottom. And in this case, Tony Romo might be the first player ever. I don't know. I don't have historical numbers on this, but to walk right out of football right into a #1 analyst job next to Jim Nance on CBS?
Normally, those spots are reserved for Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning coaches and MVP Super Bowl winning quarterbacks.
You got it.
Normally.
So it would be very difficult for him to walk away from that. But I'm going to remind you one other thing. In the big picture, if you look back at what just unfolded, neither Jerry Jones nor, in this case, Tony Romo, observed the do-right rule all along the trail of this unfolding saga, right? There was some do-wrong going on back and forth between the two of them. So I start to think, now, wait a second. Is it possible that Tony's feelings are still a little bent out of shape? Because they were all along the trail, as were Jerry's occasionally. Is it possible, I'm just throwing this out, that Tony tomorrow, the next day, heck, even this day, would wake up and say, what am I doing? This is just wrong. This feels wrong to me. Is it possible Tony would now pick up the phone because he has now been officially released? He is a free man. Is it possible he'd pick up the phone and call Bob McNair, the owner of the Houston Texans, and say, hey, I'm sorry, I had second thoughts. You still interested? I'll bet you Bob McNair would still be interested, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so is it possible then he would pull one over on Jerry Jones and say, I'm sorry, do wrong. Sorry, Jerry, love you, but I'm going to Houston and try to win a Super Bowl for the rival Houston Texans, in-state rival of the Cowboys, obviously, in Texas. It's possible he would have that kind of thought right now, but if he starts in next year and gets at all comfortable with the role, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment, then it's hard for me. I'd give it a 1% chance like Tony did. He's 99% committed. That he would come back, and that would take a desperate team calling, but a team that was good enough to give you a shot to win. And again, Troy Aikman tells the story that he was 2 years out of football, although he was still 1 year younger than Tony is now. Right. Troy was just 36. And he was doing a game in San Diego and got a message at halftime to call Andy Reid in Philadelphia because Donovan McNabb had just broken his ankle. It was week 11. And Andy Reid is saying, Troy, can you come back? And Troy made the right call for Troy's future because he said no.
Right.
And he was rising up into the lead chair at this network. And he's been great at it, obviously, and that was a great move for him not to go back to football at that age. So the one thing that stuck in my ear yesterday from Tony was he was saying people don't understand how hard it is to get ready to play football in this league. And you and I concluded yesterday, I'm not sure Tony has that in him anyway. He's not a workout warrior, so the whole prospect of, wait a second, do I really want to start back into this process again? I'd give it probably less than 1% chance that he would come back.
That's what I have it at. I have it at 1% because he said there's a 99% chance that he wouldn't come back, so I'm holding out that there's a 1% chance that he does. Skip, here's the thing, and I think it's because at that position, you just can't jump off your couch and go play football. See, everybody's looking at, well, look what Tom Brady did. Tom Brady had a training camp. Tom Brady played, 3 quarters in one preseason game?
He did.
And then he went away. But Tom Brady's lifestyle made it conducive for him that when he came back after the 4th game in the regular season, he was ready to step right in because this is what he normally does. He normally does his Pilates. He normally eats what he eats. He normally gets his rest. So he was doing what he was doing, although he wasn't playing football. As Tony said, they don't know how hard it is. See, it's hard for him because he doesn't enjoy it. Tom Brady enjoys everything about the process. Drew Brees enjoyed the process. Peyton, guys that are really, really good. Let me take that back. Guys that are great, they love everything about the process, not just Sundays. See, I'm not sure Tony just didn't love Sundays. But there's a process that you have to go through to get to Sundays. Skip, now he said a part of the reason that and I'm quoting, I do like the aspect of being able to spend time with your kids, but that wasn't the only reason. It was part of it. Health was a part of it. And as it got closer, it was an exciting opportunity. Skip, let me ask you a question. Since he retired yesterday, did the game get safer? Did they pass any rules that you know about that was going to? Now, I knew they took the leaping out. You can no longer leap over the pile and block a field goal or PAT. I think now if you get too unsportsmanlike conduct, they can throw you out of the ball game. That doesn't affect him. So the game didn't get any safer for Tony Romo to come back. Skip, there's a AFC GM said there's a 100% chance he comes back. There's a 1,000,000% chance that if he does, he gets hurt. You know that, I know that. Because think about it, Skip. He got hurt because here's the thing, and this is what I tell people. For me, going back, Skip, it was all about learning how to fall, how to take a blow, to understand where those blows were coming from. Because the more you stay away from it, your spidey senses, your instincts of, okay, I'm running this route, they're in this defense, this blow should come here. So if I take it here, I should go there. When you move, you go months and months, and here he is, he might be in September, October, November, and then he thinks about coming back. Skip, there's no question in my mind he's going to get hurt. He retired for all the right reasons because he wasn't willing to bet on himself. Someone would have given Tony Romo an opportunity. Someone would have said, okay, we'll give you $6 to $8 million. We'll put an incentive in your contract that every game you're active, we'll give you $250,000. We'll give you $500,000 for an opportunity to make $15, $16 million. But Tony Romo was unwilling to bet on himself, considering just in the last 2 years, he's missed 27 of a possible 32 games. So he wasn't willing to bet on himself to say, you know what? I believe I can stay healthy. I believe he made the right decisions. Because, Skip, as I said, you get too old to play football, you don't get too old to talk, and you got to love, Skip, you got to love this now. This football is not a game. Yeah, I think I want to play. No. This is not how you do this. You get hurt because what happens when you try to protect yourself, Skip, you do things that are unnatural. When you go play full speed, you throw caution to the wind, you don't worry about it. In the back of Tony's mind, he knows, man, 3 collarbones, my back, boot, 1 hit, and he's up out of there.
Yeah, every time you start down that path again, it just rubs me the wrong way because...
Why?
Because that's why I'm conflicted about this. You have no idea how many years I've suffered with Tony Romo.
Yeah.
How many years I have lived and died or cried with Tony Romo because he always left me a little frustrated and a little disappointed, but I always wanted badly to love him because he had so much talent, and on any given Sunday, as they say, he could be spectacularly great.
Yes.
So I wanted to think he was a football player. You're talking to me like you're Tony's wife. You know, like, oh, he could get hurt. It's 1,000,000% chance. No football player thinks that way. And I want to think of Tony as a real, live, honest-to-goodness football player, right?
I'm talking like Tony Romo was talking to himself when he made this decision. He was unwilling to roll the dice and bet on himself.
But that's not a football think. You know, that's not the way, you know how the mind works, the Ray Lewis mind, the Shannon Sharpe mind.
But Skip, see what, Tom Brady and these other great quarterbacks have spoiled
Tom Brady mind.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. You think Tom Brady thinks,
no.
I'm 40 years old. I might get hurt this year. There's maybe a 51% chance I'm going to. He doesn't think about that at all.
But Tom hasn't had the injury history over the last 2 years.
He had one big one
that set him out.
Yeah.
But other than that, Skip, he's been fairly healthy. Peyton had the one injury that set him out. Yeah. Other than that, he's been fairly healthy. Drew Brees really didn't miss any time because he had the surgery right after the season. And although they gave him a 20% chance of coming back and playing again, he played the following season, and he hasn't missed a game since. So these are variables that Tony Romo doesn't have in his favor, which is a streak of 4, 5, 6, 7 years of not missing a start. Skip, I tell the young guys, college guys and guys entering the league, I say in order to be great, you must be willing to do 2 things, what others can't or won't. And sometimes you have to do both. Tony Romo wasn't willing to be great in the offseason.
He wasn't.
He loved, Skip, I'm not saying he didn't love football, but in order to love football, you got to love the process of being a football player. I don't know if he really truly enjoyed that because golfing was maybe his first true love. It's non-contact.
I think he loved basketball more than football. Seriously.
Maybe so. But you got to put that, Skip, you got to put, the reason why I love football so much, that's what they paid me to train. I played the game for free, but they paid me to lift those heavy-ass weights and to do all those wind sprints and to eating 1,500 and 2,000 calories a day to maintain a weight of 225 pounds. That's what they paid me for. Football was for free. I did that for free.
Okay, but Tony Romo was paid $25 million to do that and wouldn't do it, right?
Hey, Skip, Skip, if you love something, nothing can take you away. But if you don't, nothing can make you stay.
Grandfather?
No, Skip. No, Skip.
That's just yours?
That's the thing, Skip.
You
Skip,
came up with that?
Like
Ship off the old block.
No, Skip. I can't take credit. I can't take credit for that.
Okay.
But that's the thing, though, Skip. That's why it was so easy for him, Skip. It was easy. I don't think it was a very tough decision for Tony Romo at all.
Okay.
I mean, because he know you'll get mad at him if he says it was an easy decision because you want him to be invested. You wanted Tony to be invested in the game of football like you're invested into the Cowboys winning.
No, that's right. And then in the end, we read the quote, I think Mike Kliss had it in Denver, that John Elway wanted Tony Romo only if he were all in. And I think Elway's spidey instincts were, I don't think he's all in, and I don't think he'll ever be all in, and so I'm not interested.
And I know that guy, John Elway, very well. And the reason why, and sometimes you have played with guys, your teammates, and some guys you're friendly, and I consider him, and he would consider me a friend. The reason why he and I got along so well, he knew 100% I was equally as invested as he was. He knew I put the time in the offseason. He knew I studied. Because a lot of times, 60% of the time, Skip, I was the hot receiver. So I had to see what he saw at the time he saw it. Because he said, I need to know if you're all in. The most important thing is the pursuit of this Super Bowl. It's not family. Because Tom Brady, I can assure you, any of these great quarterbacks, when they go on this journey to get to a Super Bowl, they're very unpleasant. Ask their wives, ask their significant other, and if they have kids able to talk, ask them.
I hate to bring this up, but the night I met Ernestine like 11 years ago, she'll hate me saying this, but the first thing I told her was, if this goes any further, I want you to understand you will always be number 2 to my job because it's the only that's the only way I can do this.
Skip!
She didn't like me saying that, but at least I was honest that was our first date.
Women do want honesty, Skip.
Skip! You know what I told, when I was playing, you know what I told my girlfriends? I can bring work home, but I could never take you to work. So once you become a problem at home, I ain't going nowhere, but you got to. They understood that. That was the most important thing. You got to be selfish to be great, Skip. And any player that's been great, they're lying if they tell you they're not selfish.
Okay, so bottom line, what will decide Tony's fate is how well he does in that booth next to Jim Nantz next fall. And it's not easy. My gut feeling is that Tony will be pretty to very good at it. But I don't know that for a fact because Tony cannot know it, CBS cannot know it, Jim Nantz cannot know it until he actually, under fire, real live games, gets to experience what it's like to sit up there, and I've known a lot of analysts, it is difficult because it's happening below you, all the way down below you, and from a perch you're not used to. It is happening lightning fast on the field, and you have to process and take an immediate stand on what you just saw. And I will remind you, Tony has worked in every interview I've ever seen him do as the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. He has worked to not take a stance on anything. He is not naturally outspoken. Troy Aikman, his predecessor, one of his predecessors, obviously, could be very outspoken as the Cowboy quarterback. Troy had strong opinions already that he was able to take to the booth with his analytical mind. Tony's got a great analytical mind. It's right up there with anybody's. He can process chalkboard, whiteboard-wise, or film-wise, but can you see it and say it? I don't know.
Instantaneous.
It's hard, man. And I remember, I'll never forget this moment. I was a member of a fitness golf club in Dallas that Terry Bradshaw belonged to all through the 80s. So one day I saw him in the parking lot. He was getting ready to go to his gig. He was just your basic, game analyst for CBS with the great Vern Lundquist. He did it for like 6 years after he departed football. And it was hard on him. And I saw him in the parking lot, and he took me over to the side, and he said, you know what? I'm really struggling with this. I don't know if I'm going to make it. It doesn't like me, and I don't really love it. But that was doing what Tony's about to try to do. And in 1990, fatefully, CBS put Terry Bradshaw in the studio. And the rest is television history because he was made for the studio. He's not just a star, he is the star of stars, right?
You know why? You know why sitting at the desk is easier? Because you're talking about things that you think will happen or talking about things that have already happened. When you're when you're the color lead, you're talking about as it's happening. And you got to be spot on. You got to, in a situation like this, you have to have studied enough game tape to say, in this situation right here, Jim, this is what they normally like to do. So the Patriots need to be careful because a shot play is coming because normally after turnover and plus territory. So you're talking as it's happening. And you can't talk over Jim. You got to let Jim lead you in, and you got to let Jim bring. So it's very difficult. I like being at the desk because I want to talk about what I think will happen, and then after it's happened, I can expand on why it happened. But
I think more of your personality can come out at the desk.
Yeah.
And yet, do I consider, I think Tony has a nice personality, a likable personality, but do I consider him charismatic, electric, must-see, entertaining interview personality? I don't. He's just a nice guy, bright, knows his football. Let's see how that translates.
Got to keep it simple because one of the greatest, I mean, obviously a lot of people say maybe the greatest color lead of all time is John Madden, but he kept it very, very simple. He was circling sweat on Nate Newton pants, and he was like, boom, bam, and John, look at John Gruden, all the funny faces, and you got to have.
But they both have big personalities that came through in their analysis.
Well, you have to imagine CBS has done some research on how
I'm just trying to
capable he is to do this job.
I'm trying to figure out how they were able to keep it so quiet. They had to go into some studio, and Jim had to. They had to look at.
Try.
Yes, absolutely. How were they able to keep that?
We'll all find out together.
TMZ, y'all supposed to be on.
But Romo's only played in 5 games in the last 2 seasons, so we talk about how hard it is to walk away from the game. He's essentially been rehabbing for 2 seasons. We've all had surgeries. Rehab is not fun. That's essentially what he's been doing.
He walked away a couple of years ago. He just didn't know.
He's just been rehabbing? Yeah.
No mercy.
Golf's first major starts this week, and to celebrate, DraftKings is hosting a free fantasy golf contest with $100,000 in total prizes up for grabs. Just pick 6 golfers before the tournament tees off this Thursday morning, rack up points for streaks, per-hole performance, tournament finishes, and more. Outscore the competition. Hurry to DraftKings.com now and use code UNDISPUTED for free entry into the $100,000 fantasy golf contest starting this Thursday for golf's first major. That's code UNDISPUTED to play for free for your share of $100,000 in total prizes, only at DraftKings.com. Eligibility restrictions may apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
No mercy.
Russell Westbrook had his 41st triple-double of the season last night, tying Oscar Robertson's record. We're joined now by Chris Broussard. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
Chris, where does the MVP race stand right now?
I think Shannon is coming over. You're going to have to. You know it. I believe by the time this is said and done.
They're going to catch the Clippers?
No, they're not. And you still, I think you will. But let me say this first. I'm happy for Russell Westbrook because I think throughout his career, he has been overly criticized. You know, he's been underappreciated, and he's not the perfect player. But nobody is. I don't think Allen Iverson personally received this much criticism and skepticism about his game. Now, off the court things, of course, people criticize
way dressed, his hair, his cornrows.
But practice, all that. But on the court, I don't remember hearing people criticize AI's game like they criticize Russell's. Even with KD leaving.
Yep.
Everybody's blamed Russ, and I know, okay, that he didn't like playing with Russell, but there were a lot of other factors. KD could have went to Russell at some point and been like, look, we got to start playing differently if we want to win the championship.
He did not do that.
Exactly. Yep. So it's not all on Russ. So I'm happy to see him smiling last night. Like, think about it. We rarely see him smiling.
I said earlier this morning, it's the first time I've ever seen him smile in public. He was truly happy.
Exactly. It was notable, right? Like, it struck me too. And so I'm happy for him because this is going to immortalize him. Think about Oscar Robertson. We don't talk about the one championship he won with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Nope.
Lou Alcindor at that time. We talk about the triple-double. A lot of people don't even know. Casual fans may not even know Oscar won the championship. So unless we start seeing guys average triple-doubles for a season, Russell Westbrook will now be immortalized as he should. So I'm happy for him. As far as the MVP talk, why is it even? I can't even understand why it's a discussion at this point. And I love Harden. I voted for James Harden 2 years ago when Steph won the first MVP. I thought it should have been Harden. I think in most other years it would be Harden. But this is a triple-double. I've said it before. Oscar, Wilt, even Elgin Baylor. 6'5" Elgin Baylor averaged 19 rebounds one year, 18 rebounds the next. Because of the pace of play, we talked about racial restrictions at the time. The numbers back then were video game. Like, we almost have taken them out of the equation. So now we have this post-merger
Averaging
stats.
25 rebounds, 24, 22 rebounds a game is unheard of.
We don't even, like now we say post-merger. LeBron has the most such and such since post-merger. You know, Michael Jordan was the greatest post-merger as far as his numbers. So now we have a guy who is matching those numbers, at least
By the way, Oscar played much higher minutes per night.
Yes.
He was like 10 minutes a
44.
night more, 44 to 34.
And Wilt Chamberlain played 48.5. So the game went into overtime. So he played every single minute of every single game, and plus a little bit over because he averaged 48.5 minutes a game. For me, it's James Harden because here's.
You just being like, stubborn. You know you just being stubborn.
Here's the
Like it's a matter of fact. For me, it's James Harden.
It is?
Here's the thing. James Harden is shooting a higher field goal percentage, a higher free throw percentage, a higher three-point percentage, and his team is 8 games clear. So if James Harden shooting 19 times a game, your guy MVP shooting 24. So that 44.4%, that's now is 33, 11, and 8. Are we still having the same conversation? Absolutely.
Wait. Go back. So you're saying if he shot as much as Russell,
with his percentage of 44.5, he would average 30.
You can't say that. I might as well take somebody that's a role player averaging 14 points a game and say if they got 20 shots,
no.
So-and-so, they'd average 25.
Well, how about this? We throw the shot selection out. One guy shooting 44.5, the other one is 42. The other
42.5.
The other
it's
guy,
not that big of a difference between 44% and 42%.
Okay, you know what? Since you want to do if you want to do individuals, let them play tennis and golf. You play a team sport. Team success should matter. One guy is 8 games clear. The other guy, one guy's going to be in the 3rd seed. The other guy is fighting to hold on to the 6th seed.
Why not give it to a Warrior? Why not give it to a Spur then? I mean, if it's just about wins and losses.
No, it's not. But if you're equating it, because theoretically LeBron should have won the MVP. LeBron should have won the MVP.
This year?
No, not this year. I'm saying that when KD won it and all those years when Steph won it, you could have easily given it to LeBron. But here's the thing: basically it's James Harden and it's Russell.
Yeah.
It's a two-man. I believe it's a two-man race now. And looking at the numbers, 29, 8, and 11, and 8 games clear versus 30, 31, 10, and 10. Give me the.
What if a guy rushed for 2,400 yards in the NFL and the team was not the best, probably not going to win the Super Bowl, but a good team, make the playoffs, maxed out? Would he be deserving of MVP? I mean, something we've never seen done, which I equate this to, even though Oscar obviously averaged.
Yeah, Eric Dickerson rushed for 2,100.
That's what I'm saying. 23.
Well, if you go that, but think about, okay, we keep talking about, Russell doesn't have play with anybody. Steven Adams, Sabonis, and Oladipo.
Sabonis? You throwing him in there? This is not Arvydas Sabonis.
Lottery picks.
Yeah, but
lottery. Oladipo was the second
rough
pick.
Year.
Hold on.
He is a liability.
Todd Gibson. So he has 4 first-rounders. Name who the first? Okay.
Oh, Eric Gordon. That's who.
Okay, yeah, wait. Who has the better team? James Harden? I think James Harden has a lot better team. He's got an array of snipers.
That's the way they constructed their team.
Coach, too. At least, I mean, again, I'm not
system.
Gonna, yeah, the
system. The system created Steve Nash, double MVP, back-to-back MVPs. And so that's what's happening with James Harden. He is a product to a degree of D'Antoni's system.
And Westbrook isn't? He's a product of not having any. He's not. Oh, did he do that with KD on the team?
Hold on. See, I'm glad you brought that up. LeBron had many years when he had to do it all in Cleveland. He never averaged a triple-double. Michael Jordan had many years in Chicago when he had to do it all before Pippen emerged. He didn't average a triple-double. Magic had Kareem where he could toss it in for post-entry assists, not taking anything away from him, but he didn't average a triple-double.
But what
I'm amazed people are belittling. That's the hatred for Russ.
Skip.
Oh, it's not a big deal.
Help me understand this. Why are you paying Steven Adams $20 million?
He's having a bad year. I told you, I've been saying it all along. He has not lived up to the contract. He's not lived up to his playoff performance when I thought he was on the verge of becoming a star, or at least a near star.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you look at underperforming teammates. Oladipo's okay, but that's sort of all you have to work with. And they made those 2 moves at the trade deadline, and they didn't really make them that much better. They are 32-9 when Russell triple doubles. 32-9? Are you kidding me? And when you look at the wins, I can't give you the overall record because I thought they could reach the 4 seed, but they beat the 4 seed 3 times. They beat San Antonio. They beat Cleveland. They beat Houston. They beat the Celtics twice. They beat Memphis twice.
Lost to the Hornets. Lost to the Hornets.
Well, everybody lost.
Okay, then well, everybody beat good teams.
Not everybody.
Okay, then how you gonna do that?
They beat the Wizards. They beat the Raptors. They beat Atlanta. They've beaten a lot of good
Sacramento
teams.
beat Golden State?
No mercy.
LeBron James had a triple-double last night in a blowout win against the Magic. Now the focus shifts to a huge game on the road tonight against the Celtics. Cleveland and Boston are tied for first in the East. Last night, LeBron talked about not getting caught up in a regular season game. Let's take a listen.
I don't know. I've played in a lot of big games, man. I'm the last person to ask about a big game in the regular season. I'm sorry. I'm not one to get caught up in regular season big games or not. I'm sorry. I've been to 6 straight finals, man. I'm the last person to ask about a regular season game, dude. Sorry.
I'll save my opinion on that for the end. Shannon, how important is tonight's game?
Man, you know me and Brian have been to 6 straight finals. You think I'm supposed to get excited about a regular season game?
Wait, you've been to 6
Me and
straight?
Brian. I've been riding with him. I've been riding with him. Joy shotgun. I call shotgun every time he go to the final.
Yeah.
I got shotgun on this one.
On the bandwagon,
Hey.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Skip, you remember when you look, Joe, you remember this, Skip, you didn't play this. You remember you driving alone? That's my car. When LeBron came into that's my guy. I called dibs on him first.
Skip never played car games
No,
on road
he
trips?
ain't play no car. They ain't go nowhere.
Car games?
Yeah.
What do we call it where you have to call what kind of car is coming?
Yeah,
Station wagon?
That's my car. Me and my brother play all that's my car. I'm gonna get me a car like that. So when
Oh.
LeBron got drafted, Skip,
Oh, you just...
that's my guy.
Oh.
I beat everybody to the punch, so now I'm riding with him. Skip, he shouldn't get excited. But I tell you what, they do want to finish strong. They want to get the nasty taste of March out of their mouth where they were 7-10, and you let everybody know over the last 40 games, that's a big piece of work here now.
It is.
That's big. They're 21-19 for the King of Akron.
That's barely over 500. How do you explain that?
No explanation needed. All I'm saying is this. Okay, Boston. You're playing great. And he acknowledged that. Ty Lue acknowledged this is a very good team. They're playing well. But let me tell you something about the King of Akron. He doesn't care. What did I tell you yesterday, Skip, about seeds? Seeds only matter if you're planting a garden. LeBron James, he's gone to the finals 7 times. Only twice has he been the number 1 seed. LeBron don't care nothing about that. You think that man gonna get excited? Skip, if I go to Disney World, the little local fair don't do anything for me. I done rode the roller coaster, Superman. The 10-story free fall, the Batman ride, and you want me to get on the merry-go-round and be excited. You want this man after going to 6 straight finals to be excited about playing the Boston Celtics?
Do you realize why he has gone to 6 straight finals?
Because he's the king.
Because he has chosen to stay in the Eastern Conference, which is an annual cakewalk for the king, especially when he joins forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in South Beach, or when he goes home to join forces with Kyrie and Kevin Love back in Cleveland. It's pretty easy to go to 6 straight finals. In fact, it's just a done deal. It's a foregone conclusion.
How about this here? When Kevin Love was in the West, how many finals did he go to? They were in the lottery every year. Okay, when Kyrie was Kyrie Irving was in the East. What'd they do?
Sniff.
I don't want to do it. I can't do it. I ain't got no tails. I ain't telling nothing. What did they do? They had
Couldn't even help yourself.
If LeBron had really had any guts, he would have chosen to play in the West somewhere. He'd just say, I got to go do that because that's the ultimate achievement to fight your way up.
Michael Jordan didn't go to the West.
He wasn't going to go join forces with anybody. LeBron's always looking for the next hot deal.
LeBron bring everybody. Here's the thing, though, Skip. You keep talking about, the West. What did he do to the 73-9
By the way,
Warriors?
when Michael Jordan was in the East was the West.
Hold on. No.
It was. Yeah,
The East was the East when they had the big 3 in Boston. Not when Kevin McHale got 63 and Robert Parrish was 68 and Bird was 59.
Yeah.
Not then.
What about the Bad Boy Pistons?
Oh, yeah. In the
What
80s.
about the Knicks?
Hold on, Skip.
Hold on.
in the 80s, when the bad boy Pistons, when they had Mahorn and Lambeer, and they had Dumars, and they had Isaiah.
I want to get back to business.
Yeah,
I got so
tell
much
the
I
truth.
want to say.
Boy, go ahead and say it.
You know, first of all, I got to make a quick point. After all your chest beating for week after week about LeBron's hot from three, this is a new LeBron. He can make those three-point shots. I kept warning you and warning you. He's going to fall back in love and fall back into the trap of shooting too many threes. And now over his last 11 games, he's 12 out of 52 from the three-point line, which is 23%, which is no good. And if we just do the last 8 games, he's 7 of 37, including 0 for 3 last night, which is 19% over the last 8 games. That is horrible. Do you realize how much he's costing his team? Empty trip after empty trip after empty shot.
Do you realize even after shooting 23% over how many games or 19%, you know he's still shooting 54% from the field, averaging 26 points.
He can dunk. I give him that. He can win those dunk contests, except when it's time to actually participate in a real dunk contest. He's not going to do that. So, back to business. Last night, I watched the whole Orlando game because I was fascinated by what was unfolding before my very eyes because the King of Akron started the game. I advocated yesterday, take the night off. You deserve it with a back-to-back coming up against the Celtics off a 52-minute performance, double overtime against those mighty Indiana Pacers, who came in having lost 5 out of 6, and it took double overtime, but we won't get into that. It took 52 minutes of the King of Akron to get through that game, and I congratulate him. That was a momentous victory for a team that struggled through the month of March. Then he follows it up last night by shocking me. He started the game, and he almost finished the game, although it became a blowout. He played a game-high 37 minutes, which is 6 more minutes than any other Cleveland Cavalier played last night, and which is 4 more minutes than anybody in Orlando played. 37 minutes? What is he doing? I keep telling you, you give him a pass day after day. I keep saying, this is just craziness. This is LeBron unraveling. He talks and talks about, need to govern my minutes, need to ration them out. I need my coach to. No, you don't. You're the coach of the team. Why are you playing 37 minutes? To get a triple-double? Could that be? 18-point triple-double, which it shouldn't even count. And you can say, well, Russ had 3 or 4 of them himself.
He had 12-point triple-double. Shot for 12 last night.
Yeah.
33%.
18-point triple-double. Are you going to stay in the game for 37 minutes? And all I can read into this is LeBron trying to build in an excuse for tonight so he can say, well, I had to play 52 minutes, and then I had to play 37 to overcome the Orlando Magic. Is that what he's doing?
Nope.
Excuse making?
Skip, don't you want to watch greatness? Oh. You want to watch greatness for 25 minutes or 37 minutes or 52 minutes?
So now he goes to Boston, and obviously early on this season, when they were the Cleveland Cavaliers, they beat Boston twice and beat them fairly handily by, I guess they were both by 6 points. November 3rd, December 29th. Then came the fateful game on March the 1st that started the March slide of your Cleveland Cavaliers. That was a 103-99 loss at Boston. And do we need to remind everybody what happened at the end of that game?
Do we got video?
They let the closer close, and he had Avery Bradley all over him. I'm talking about Kyrie on the baseline. He tried jump shot, didn't quite make it. Rebound 2, double T. He went up and did what he does. And, LeBron is wide open standing at the three-point line when he was red hot from the three-point line. Kick it out to LeBron. 6 seconds left. Just drive it. Just drive it to the basket. You're going to get fouled. We got lots of video of this. And what did he do? He kicked it to the corner. We don't even need the video. He kicks it all the way across to the corner to Darren Williams. It's his first night in Cleveland. Yeah. And he's not exactly a traditional hot-shooting three-point shooter, the clutch guy that you want. Poor Darren Williams is like, me shoot this?
2 for 2
and he missed it. He missed it. But it was his first night with Cleveland. Okay. So you need to right the wrong that happened last time in Boston because you need to reestablish your psychological hold over those upstart Boston Celtics. And this is a big deal tonight because of that. You need to go show them who's boss. What did my Spurs do at home last night against the team that they're probably going to see in the first round of the playoffs? Memphis. Again, Spurs are starting to be in rest mode, but last night, they mostly played their guys. Yeah. And it got dicey at the end of the game because Memphis is a mentally, physically tough basketball team that plays some of the best defense in the league. and it goes to overtime, and the Spurs gutted and gritted out a big psychological win over a Memphis team that had beaten them twice in Memphis, and now San Antonio has held serve twice at home. So at least it's even Steven psychologically going into the playoffs. Now it's the King of Akron's turn to go to Boston and do this. But no, he played 37 minutes. I'm a little tired. He's got a built-in excuse now in case it doesn't go his way.
What did I tell you the other day? I said you can have results or excuses. Pick a side and let's go.
I'll pick for LeBron excuse side.
He don't make excuses.
He made his own. He built one in against the Orlando Magic last night.
He doesn't need a psychological advantage. Because guess what?
He knows you'll give him one.
If a team...
Shannon's got my back,
Let me ask you a question, Skip.
I'll check out Shannon on Undisputed on what,
if a team,
Thursday morning.
Let me ask you a question.
He'll have my back.
Let me ask you a question. If Tom Brady loses in the regular season
to a team,
do you think they have a psychological advantage over him?
They don't play 4 times a year.
We don't play what? We don't care. We don't care.
They don't play 7-game series in the postseason. It's all about psychological dominance.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What's the likelihood if you the baddest man on the planet, a man can beat you in 7 fights?
Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
How many rings does Tom Brady have?
Brady got 5.
He's got 5. How many does LeBron have?
3. He got 3.
Look over here.
But Skip.
Oh, thank you.
But here's the thing, Skip.
Yeah.
You're talking about one game, and a lot of times anything can happen in one game. These are series. I'm not trying to downplay. He got those 5 rings, are very, very impressive. But don't try to
Should have 6, but that's okay.
He should have 3.
Man, should have 6.
Yeah, okay. Because they could have easily lost.
So you're saying tonight is no big deal because the King of Akron has been to 6 straight finals. This is just some little road trip to Boston. He might. You know, he might. He might just say, I'm out.
And we might get a triple dub.
Huh?
Bet we get a triple dub on y'all.
We? On y'all? I'm not a y'all.
Yeah, you Boston Celtics.
I'm not a Celtic.
You know, you're against LeBron. You, Miss Queen Petty.
Who, me?
Will you change your Twitter name to Queen Petty? No. Joy Taylor Talks is not doing it for me. It needs to be Queen Petty.
No. The Cavs are 1-9 on the second night of back-to-back road games this season, and Tristan Thompson did not travel to Boston. He hurt his thumb last night.
Oh,
so
he did not know that.
His streak.
Wait, hold on. You said a case of dew yesterday. We still doing it?
He's going to snap the streak. So he's not going to play. He's going to snap his streak. You know, he's played all these games.
LeBron.
He had played 447 games.
LeBron's out tonight. He'll say, I got no chance without Tristan.
So AC Green.
He doesn't want to compete by himself.
Both of AC Green's records going to stay intact.
To make you nervous? Just a little regular season game, Boston.
Tell me who has the best duo in all of basketball.
Kawhi, LaMarcus.
Are you out your mind? So you say Kawhi and LaMarcus is a better duo than that 2 on the left?
Dragic and Whiteside.
I like that duo.
Hold up, Joy. Y'all not even in the playoffs right now.
Stop.
They don't have their killer, man.
They lost to the Knicks without
we don't have Dion.
They lost to the Knicks without Melo.
They don't have Dion Waiters.
Without Melo.
No mercy.
The Cowboys officially released Tony Romo after 14 years in Dallas yesterday. Romo formally announced on Twitter that he's joining CBS with the caption, "I guess it's time to start dressing up," #CBS. Jerry Jones praised his former quarterback, saying Tony has been a wonderful representative of the Cowboys organization for 14 years, and he left everything he had on the field. He will leave us with many great memories and a legacy of being truly one of the greatest players in Cowboys history. We are thrilled for him and his family that we will be able to continue working as a professional in the game he so dearly loves.
That was a tail skip. That was a tail skip. I heard that.
A lot of sound effects in that read, you guys. We're joined by Chris Carter. Welcome, Chris. Good morning.
Welcome. Good morning.
Skip, let's start with you. How would you rank
Skip, how would you?
Romo's career
out of the way and off the table? It is laughable and offensive to me to put Tony Romo in the same breath with the sentence, does he belong in the Hall of Fame? No, he does not belong. He shouldn't even be, this shouldn't be a question.
No.
This is not debatable. He's just a big N-O. I always say with Hall of Famers, if you have to think twice, they're not in my Hall of Fame. That's the way I look at it. And I have to think about 29 times about Tony Romo, right?
29, Skip? I was going to say like 5 or 10.
How about 9, because that was his number.
Okay.
So I'll leave it at that. Because Shannon Sharpe often quotes his grandmother or grandfather on this show.
Yeah.
For a while, it was always your grandmother, and then
Yeah.
it became
Yes.
all grandfather. I don't know what
I got to
happened.
get Popeye in too.
Okay, okay, but whatever. I'm missing your grandmother.
Okay, I get her back in. I get her back in.
So because you do that, I'm going to quote my all-time favorite playwright to answer this question, Mr. William Shakespeare, if I can, from Macbeth. Just suffer me this, okay?
Take your
because
time.
this sums up Tony Romo's career. A tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. That's it. In the end, that's what it did. It signified nothing to me because lots of spectacular regular season games, a whole lot of regular season wins that signified nothing. As I said before in our previous topic, I defended him for years on TV just because I'm a Cowboy fan and I tried to love him and I tried to embrace him. And he always left me a little disappointed and a whole lot frustrated. It was a lot of near greatness to me because you saw the talent, you saw the playmaking ability, you saw the mental capacity to read quickly, and then you saw the gunslinger come out that was high risk and not very high reward, but it was just mostly high risk. And in the end, the classic Romo game, I'm going to bring it up one more time without rubbing it in, but it was that game against Peyton Manning in 2013. I just can't get it out of my system, out of my psyche, because it just devastated. 506. 5 touchdowns, and all the way to the bitter end, no interceptions. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, versus the great Peyton Manning in a big stage late afternoon Sunday game. We're all riveted. I'm in my living room in New York City. I'm on the edge of my couch, and it's 48-all. Kickoff. Dallas gets it 1st and 10 back in those days at the 20.
Yep.
Romo, deer in headlights on 1st down, sacked, -6. All of a sudden, 2nd and 16 from the 14. Romo back, deer in headlights. He throws it right to Danny Trevathan like there's no receiver in sight, and he throws it to Danny Trevathan, and Peyton and company kneel it out and kick the chip shot walk-off field goal, and it's 51-48. Is that not vintage, classic, signature Tony Romo? That summed him up. And the one signature postseason throw that he made was to Dez Bryant. I thought it was a catch. You guys both said it wasn't a catch. So in this case, I'm going to go with you two Hall of Fame receivers and say it wasn't a catch because it got taken away from him, because what could go wrong for Tony Romo would always go wrong for Tony Romo. And one of his greatest moments was opening night 2 years ago, Sunday Night Football, Chris Collinsworth at Jerry World. Eli and company are there. It's back and forth, and Romo takes him right down and throws a walk-off touchdown pass to Jason Witten, the guy you can outrun, at the buzzer. He catches it at the goal line, and it's game over. And I thought, here we go. And there he went up to Philly the next week, and what happened right on schedule? Boom! He's gone for the year, and they are gone for the year. So, big picture, where do I rank him? Let's just rank him among Cowboy quarterbacks, and I go way back on this one. I got Roger Staubach at the top. I got Dandy Don Meredith as number 2 on my list. I got Danny White, who is underrated as
over Troy?
Oh, I'm going. I'm sorry. I'll put Troy in. You know what? I forgot Troy. I left him out. I'll put Troy 3rd on the list, and I'll put Danny White. He's higher on. Most people think Tony Romo's better than Danny White. Danny White got him to 3 straight NFC Championship games and played just as well as Joe Montana did in the catch game. And Joe made the last throw. Danny made a great throw to Drew Pearson, and he just couldn't get away. I don't know if you remember, Nate Wright got him by the nape of the neck and pulled him down from behind. So my point is that Dak is going to be way better than Tony Romo. So it's just like, I've already seen enough of Dak to say he's better than Tony Romo. So I can't put him on any all-time list, and I certainly don't want to hear any Hall of Fame conversation.
Yeah, you just went to the quarterback, so I'll just take it like this. All the Hall of Famers, he's not better than. He's not better than Chuck Howley. Okay. He's not better than Too Tall Jones or Harvey Martin. So we'll just go from there, just move from there. But let's look at his career. I think he overachieved. He didn't underachieve. I think because he's an undrafted free agent.
Yes.
When you're an undrafted free agent, there is no expectations. Elway, Manning, Aikman, Bradshaw, they were #1 picks overall. So anything they did, you expected that.
Yep.
What makes Tom Brady's story so compelling is he was a 6th-round draft pick. There was, 7, 8, 10 quarterbacks that went ahead of him. Joe Montana was a third-round draft pick. That's what makes his story so compelling.
Well,
not only did he win the 4 Super Bowls, 3 MVPs. Not only did Brady win 5 Super Bowls, 4 MVPs, where they were selected in the draft because there was very little expectations. When you're undrafted, there are even less expectations. So for Tony Romo to be undrafted, to have the most passing yards for a Cowboys quarterback, the most passing touchdowns for a Cowboy quarterback, that gives him something. I think he was a very good player. Tony Romo wasn't great. I don't care what anybody says. He was not a great quarterback because at the end of, look, you can be a great player and never win a Super Bowl. Dan Marino is a great player. He's one of the greats. But in order to be in the conversation for greatest, EST, a championship has to follow that. And Tony Romo won 2 playoff games. 2. So what am I supposed to do with this? So now all of a sudden, but look at, he had terrible defense. There are a lot of quarterbacks that had terrible defenses. But when we want to make the argument for you, you'll disregard everything that goes into the equation.
Tony Romo came into the league in 2003,
I think.
I retired in 2002. I've been covering Tony Romo his whole career.
You have.
All right, so a lot of ups, a lot of downs. The story, it is compelling because where he came from, because that tells a part of the story. Unheralded, undrafted, he made himself into a good football player.
He did. But
I'm one of the people that I reserve the right to give the word great to people. And Tony Romo, in this generation that everyone's great, everything is great, Tony Romo was not a great player. And the reason why, because since I've been on TV, since 2003, the quarterbacks have been judged on their ability when we get on the field. This team right here, regardless of who it is, which quarterback gets on the bus the winner, not what the stats said. Which quarterback, which team is cheering and which team is crying. That's how we judge the quarterbacks. And Tony Romo's team has not won enough games. He has not beaten the other marquee quarterbacks in those games to be considered great. Now, Jerry can, as we've seen over the last 30 years, Jerry can say whatever he wants to. That don't make it gossip.
Right.
Now, he controls the Ring of Honor, so it makes him like a little mini god. So he can put him into the Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Give him a blue coat.
Yeah, but you don't have to worry about Tony Romo being in the Hall of Fame.
Because think about this. Let's just say for the sake of argument, Skip. Okay, here's the guys that played in Romo's era. I'm just gonna name like 5. You tell me which ones he's better than. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben, and just for the sake of argument, I'll put Drew Brees in there. Which one of these quarterbacks he better than?
Man, what about Eli? Forget Peyton. You think Tony Romo better than Eli?
No.
No, thank you. No.
Jerry, you own the Cowboys. You want to say he's great. He might. But once you get past those 25 greatest, or you want to put him 26, 27, 28?
I mean, to Jerry's credit, he said one of the best Cowboys ever.
Do you know how many people
and
talking
Jerry
about?
does own the Cowboys.
Do you know how many Cowboys in the Hall of Fame?
We're talking about other quarterbacks that have played during Tony Romo's era, and he didn't say he was a Hall of Famer. He just said he's the.
No, but there's a lot of that
Cowboys
floating around on the internet. I mean,
they need to stop being
people
silly.
talking. But here's the thing, though, Skip. Think about how many guys are in the Hall of Fame for the Cowboys. Rayfield Wright, Harvey Martin, Bob Lilly.
Yeah, so he's better than them.
Come on.
Did you say Randy White?
Randy White, Bob Lilly, Mr. Cowboy.
The Tony Romo saga's over, but I mean, not so long ago he was Tony Romo Jones. It shouldn't be that surprising coming from him.
You got the triplets. You got Larry Allen.
It's our job up here to tell the truth.
Bob Hayes, Dion.
Listen, Drew Pearson was more valuable than Tony Romo, and he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he does belong in the Hall.
And hold on. Tony Romo's behind Jason Witten.
No mercy.
Tony Romo announced yesterday that he is retiring from football and will join the broadcast booth at CBS. Another quarterback, Colin Kaepernick, is still looking for a new team. There's been speculation that Kaepernick is being blackballed because of his national anthem protests. We're joined once again by Chris Carter. Chris, what happens now with Kaepernick?
Did something else happen? Was there something else that went on? Like, besides Tony Romo? Because for me, Tony Romo does not affect Colin Kaepernick.
Nope.
Because Tony Romo was going to probably go to one or two places. If someone was going to trade for him, it was going to be Houston. All right? The owner of Dallas did not want him going to Houston. Tony Romo, that was his preferred destination. Mm-hmm. Okay, so why would Houston want Colin Kaepernick? Like, what does he provide to that roster?
They have acknowledged they've had some interest, but I think that might just be talk.
Yeah.
That's all that's going to be. Because they already have a project in Savage, and last year they went through the yo-yo thing with Osweiler. Mm-hmm. They brought Osweiler in. He's the face of the franchise, give him the big money, give him the responsibility. Then they end up had to bitch him. Go to Savage. I believe that Savage is a better prospect than Colin Kaepernick.
Really?
Absolutely. The reason
prospect?
Yeah, pro prospect. The reason why, because we've seen Cap. Cap's not going to improve, man. This is what you're going to. This is it. What do you think he's going to wake up in the morning and develop a touch? That's not something that can be taught throwing the football. You cannot teach a quarterback anticipation, and you can't teach them touch. You can get their arms stronger. You can get them a little more accurate. You can put them in an offense to be able to protect them like he was in with Harbaugh. But it's not going to happen. So that didn't open the door in Houston.
I didn't see flashes of greatness from Tom Savage in his, 3 games last year?
That's fine. I'm just believing that Savage can play. I believe he's going to be a starting quarterback in the league. I believe
the coach really believes in him.
Well, that's more important.
It is.
Because right now we don't believe that Cap is going to be a starter. Let's go back to Denver. Denver did have some interest.
They did.
But Denver's got 2 projects. Last year, when they was interested in him, they only had 1 project. Right. Now they have 2. One that they've invested a draft pick in Lynch, and the other one, Simeon, who I believe is a better quarterback. So why would you bring a third person into the mix which you really only need a backup, or you hurt your draft pick because you retard his development by having a third guy there who can be the starter? It's not like you're bringing in some journeyman, some guy who's going to be the third guy, or you're bringing in a really, really young guy who's a big project. So this doesn't help his potential landing with the team.
Yeah, I totally agree, because I didn't believe for 1 second that the Romo domino needed to fall for Kaepernick to find a home, because I believe the teams that were interested in Romo weren't going to be necessarily interested in Colin Kaepernick. But we also have to understand this is a very tough market. Adrian Peterson, the greatest running back of his generation, hasn't signed. Jay Cutler, for whatever.
Your homeboy.
I mean, he's been a star. Jay Cutler's been a starter basically his entire career. He hasn't signed.
Yep.
A lot of veteran players are taking 1-year deals. We've seen more 1-year deals with veteran players in free agency than we have at any other time.
And veterans, not meaning old players,
right.
28 to 32. We're talking about young players.
Alshon Jefferson.
Murray with the Vikings.
And you got Terrell Pryor. So we're seeing a lot of 1-year deals. So the market is really tough. But when you look at it, okay, the report says that he wants to compete for a starting job. The Jets bring him? They just gave McCown $6 million to be a backup. Now, Cap's not going to come in for free, so you're going to have to give him $1 million, something to come in. Okay, the Bears, they just gave Glennon. Now, it looks like it's a 1-year deal for about $13 to $15 million. They can get out of it next year. But if you pay the guy that much, are you going to really bring him in and have Cap beat him out and have a $13 million backup? So the Houston Texans, I don't think this is a good fit. Now, I think Jay Cutler would be a better fit because he is the type of quarterback that Coach O'Brien can work with.
Yep.
Drop back quarterback, but you already know. I think his attitude would drive Coach O'Brien crazy. They might be fighting on the sideline literally because Coach O'Brien is really high-strung. He coaches his quarterbacks really hard. But let me throw something out there that be like, this makes sense. I like the Kansas City Chiefs. I like Andy Reid because he is very simple. Now, he can throw the ball like Donovan can, but he had better legs than Donovan. And Andy is not going to let you take high risk with the football, a la check down Alex Smith. Now, Alex Smith is about to be 33. He has some concussion problems because remember, in San Francisco, that's how Cap got the job. He got a concussion. He never got in. He missed a couple of games. I think he missed 1 or 2 games last year with a concussion. So all things being equal, I like Denver if Gary Kubiak was the head coach. And that's why they wanted him after they won the Super Bowl, because they're a play-action type of football team. They can run the boots. Colin Kaepernick would be great. Now with Mike McCoy as the offensive coordinator, this doesn't make nearly as much sense. And if you bring him in, you give him something, you believe he's going to be able to beat out Trevor Siemian because you're not going to cut Paxton Lynch. because he was your first-round draft pick just last year. So that doesn't make sense. The spot that makes the most sense for me when I look at it, go through from top to bottom, is the Kansas City Chiefs.
I like that idea. I hadn't thought of that. But back to what Chris said. You still think Colin Kaepernick can be a starting quarterback at a high level?
Yes.
Okay. All I know is I saw those 2 years with Jim Harbaugh supporting and coaching him and putting him in perfect positions to succeed, and he was really good. I mean, really good. Obviously, controversial play away from winning a Super Bowl. Had a good defense, but he played really well in that stretch, arm and legs. And then next year, one throw, one little underthrow, just he didn't put enough air under it from getting back to the Super Bowl.
Correct.
And I thought last year, 16 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions. He had 3 or 4 what I thought were big-time games where I said that guy can play. He could be a starting quarterback. But you're putting it in a new perspective where what I just heard you say is the league is not going to love him for any starting spot at this point.
Yeah,
right?
Who would?
Okay, so I don't know if he's cut out to be a backup, although you make a good case Andy Reid might be that guy. We talked about could he be Cam's backup because the system would be a good fit, but they seem to like Derek Anderson. Okay, so that's eliminated. I'm not sure anybody else would love Colin Kaepernick's skill set as a backup quarterback.
Right.
And so what you know, Denver had interest. I think they had real interest.
They did.
Just at their price, they had interest.
Right. They wanted him to take a pay cut, Skip, put it in incentives, and then he could have been a free agent at the end of this year. But he wanted, like, I'm guaranteed $12 million. Why am I going to reduce that? Why am I going to give you $3 million back?
Yeah.
And they also hadn't drafted Paxton
Lynch at the time, right?
They had not. But I saw Trevor Siemian. He was pretty good. I saw little bits and pieces of Paxton
Lynch. Until he hurt his shoulder.
Until he hurt his shoulder. He did. But they went 9-7 and missed the playoffs. Could they be better this year? Let's just do the best of all worlds. If you throw Colin Kaepernick into the starting lineup in Denver with what's left of the defense, because the window is about to close on some of those players, but they're still good enough to be a high-level top 5 defense, even though they lost the coordinator.
They're still very young, Skip. You got to realize Von Miller's only going to be 27.
Okay, but
Talib is only 30.
Yeah, he feels like an
old
aging
30.
player. Yeah, it is. TJ Ward is.
Yeah, he goes at it pretty hard.
His 30 he's young on the field, but he's old off the field.
Yeah. Okay, so my point is, if Colin Kaepernick, let's just do the hypothetical, starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos, are they better than Trevor Siemian will be next year? Because I assume it's going to be Trevor Siemian.
No.
No?
With Cap? For me, no.
Man.
He don't throw the ball well enough.
And Mike McCoy's offense, you know, you're in the spread a lot. You saw what Phillip Rivers, you saw what they did. There's open set, and they're throwing the ball all over the field. So I think Cap is better situated with a back behind him and some play action. Mike McCoy is really not big. It's his offense.
If I'm Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, that's who I want. I'm talking from a receiver standpoint.
No, I got it.
All right? Who can deliver me the groceries so that I can do my job?
Okay,
and Cap is not going to do that with that medicine ball he throws.
Okay, so the shock to me is, or what's enlightening to me is that all these teams, they had a chance to jump on Colin Kaepernick a ways back.
Yeah.
Right? He was out there.
Yes.
And the Jets didn't jump, and Denver didn't jump, and Houston hasn't jumped. They said they had some interest. The Browns, do you think Hugh Jackson would like to have him?
I believe he's better than anything they got in Cleveland right now.
Obviously, for now, are they going to draft Deshaun? I don't know. Maybe it's Deshaun Kaiser. I don't know who they're going to come up with, but whoever that is, maybe they want to force feed him right into the starting lineup next year. So my point is, the handwriting on the locker room wall to me says, I'm not sure Colin Kaepernick's going to get a job. I'm not sure about it. I'm not sure where the fit is, unless you're right that he'd be a backup in Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, I went through it last night a lot. When I'm racking my brain. Once we get, I'm like, I'm trying to figure out where he can go. And if you look at it, you go division by division, and you're like, he's not going anywhere in the NFC South. Atlanta, Chicago, Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina, Tampa. Those guys aren't going anywhere.
The biggest problem now, and in a different category, Ray Rice, he wasn't able to overcome it because of the state of where we went.
Right.
From a society standpoint, overall awareness, and what we decided we're not going to tolerate. And he was the first one down that road.
Right.
So he was used as an example.
Yep. He's the face of it.
when you get in situations like this, man, you need somebody to vouch for you. You need someone to vouch for your football IQ. You need someone to vouch for your character. You need someone to vouch for your leadership. And Cap don't have that. And you know where that guy? No, he's got one guy. And that guy's in Ann Arbor.
Yep.
That's right.
And when you get in tough situations like this in life, you need someone to go out of their way to be able to convince people you need to take a chance with.
Okay, so time out.
Go ahead.
Do you then disagree with every current player who has said Colin Kaepernick is being blackballed?
No, I don't disagree with them, but I look at the film too. You can put yourself in a position to be blackballed. When he took a knee for the national anthem, he put himself in a position where he could be blackballed. When he didn't take care of his body, all right, the last couple years, he put himself in a situation that in the NFL, call it what you want to. It's about performing. When he had the attitude that he had as the leader, when he was wearing baseball caps backwards of other teams in the locker room, he had set himself up for this day. All right? So everything you do is part of the story to the day when eventually they want to get rid of you. Is he worth keeping or do we get rid of him? And that's where he's at now at a young age. And those are the questions he had to answer, not me.
I don't think he's a bad teammate because they voted him the Lynn Ashman Award, the best
this
teammate.
year.
This year, yes.
This is the only year that he was tight with his teammates in San Francisco.
Yes.
After talking to several 49ers, all right, he's been very standoffish, all right?
And he did have an incident with Alden Smith off the field.
Right.
Yeah, Alden Smith having an issue with half of America.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, is CC said something very interesting, is that when you have someone vouch for you, they need to vouch for you in the field in which you're in. His coach is vouching for him, but he's in college football. Adam Gase vouched for Jay Cutler. He's the head coach of Miami. Now, for me, is that when you take a stance like he took, you have to be willing to live with the ramifications that come with that. And I think Cap is. I think Cap, he wants to play because he believes he can play. He texted me a message and said, now, some source said, and some teams are shying away because of his vegan diet and he can't maintain the weight. Tony Gonzalez was a vegan for 10 years and it never caused him a problem. But going back to Cap, Cap sent me a text saying, I'm at my weight. He says, I don't have to worry about rehabbing. I can train now. Because remember, he had the surgery.
He had a couple going into last year,
Yes,
right?
he had a wrist, and I think he had a wrist and a shoulder or a wrist and a knee. Yeah. But anyway, I believe if he's given the chance. Now, is he going to be able to run Tom Brady's offense? No. But I don't believe Tom Brady can run Russell Wilson's offense either with his own reading stuff. So we need to stop pretending like offenses are not catered to what the quarterback does specifically and especially well, because they are.
And not only the quarterback, there's other systems. You think Edelman will be good in another system?
Yeah, he's not playing outside the numbers.
95% of all the players I ever met in my last 35 years dealing with the National Football League, we all needed a system.
Right.
If I had not gone to Minnesota with Denny Green, the three receivers, I wouldn't be sitting here. So most of us, Barry Sanders didn't need no system.
No.
Y'all move out the way, don't block them.
Don't worry about it.
Don't block them. I'll handle 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
But there's very few of us. Right. Man, we need a system to be able to operate so that our talent
can show. I went to a system. Dan Reed, they're on the skip. It's just so fun. It happens. There are only 2 teams that had the H back when I came into the league.
Yep.
That was the Washington Redskins, and that was the San Diego Chargers. Dan Reeves put that in to find a way to get me on the field.
Yep.
So what if I go somewhere that they don't have that system, or a coach is not willing to alter what he does in order to get Shannon on the field? Yep. Well, Shannon's not in the Hall of Fame. Shannon's not up here talking about Skip. Shannon's at home talking about Skip Bayless out of his mind.
Yep, you would be. And you'd be wrong again. By the way, quick thought. You did a commentary on this for Social yesterday. What's your bottom line on it after all you've heard?
Well, I mean, it's very disturbing to me that we're putting Ray Rice and Colin Kaepernick in the same conversation for any reason whatsoever. They're not.
Well, you shouldn't be disturbed about that, but I'm just talking about when something happens.
But what happened was a choice to stand up for something or kneel down for something you believe in. Ray Rice put his fist in his fiance's face.
I understand,
so
but it was the first time that we had seen it, though.
Right, but
and we adjusted as a society.
They're not on the same.
No, they're
not even in the
different.
same book. They're two different things. If that's the case, then Colin is actually being blackballed. if what you're saying is true.
Look at the quarterbacks. He is being blackballed.
Right, but he didn't do what's wrong. If you're comparing Ray Rice to him, he didn't do anything wrong.
We're not comparing them in that sense.
So is your gut feeling he's going to be out of work?
I don't see it happening.
No.
But although it is very confusing because we're talking about people needing systems, and the 2 years that he was in San Francisco being successful in a system, no one had a problem with the way he was throwing the ball because it worked for him. So.
But for some people, they'll never say it. They view what he did worse than what Ray Rice did.
Well, I can have a very
think about it.
I can have a very lengthy conversation with those people, and I guarantee they would change their mind.
No mercy.
This is the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast, where we're delivering you an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the biggest topics of the day's show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, like us on Facebook at Undisputed on FS1, follow on Twitter at Undisputed, and catch us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Monday through Friday on FS1. You can find us on channel 219 on DirecTV, 150 on Dish. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm Joy Taylor, your host. That's it for us today. We come back tomorrow with Hall of Famer Chris Carter, Joel Clapp, and shout out to the 305 as we welcome Eddie House to the desk. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports, one of one.